I've started 32 companies in 17 industries. I've developed real estate, a couple hundred homes, industrial subdivisions where I tore down entire neighborhoods and rebuilt them. I became an underwriter in 2012 to be able to underwrite my own deals. Then in 2009, I set up Capital Velocity to help get capital into people's hands.
Okay.
So that, there's Capital Velocity, which is helping people in real estate. I only fund good debt. If you want, let's say you're brand new, you want to do a fix and flip property. I'll fund up to 90% of the purchase and 100% of the actual rehab. You just take your phone out, take a picture of the carpet you put in, and whatever the allowance for carpet is, I wire it into your account in 24 hours.
Noelle.
So again, Andrew, that was amazing what you were saying there. So let's talk about all of the different things that you have that are amazing that can help others. Talk to me about your first thing that you can do that's really going to move people and move the needle for people.
Well, part of the core of why I even started this 8 years ago was, a rich guy on YouTube that shows all this stuff is just not interesting to me. In fact, it's why you don't see me showing Ferraris, Lamborghinis, all that stuff on my channel. I think I did it once. And I was disgusted by myself that I even did it because I just, I didn't want to make people feel bad, showing a 12,000 square foot home. I have like 375 cars that I've had. And, at one time, as much as that many cars. So, the Bentley and the Ferrari, but at any rate, that's not interesting to me. And in fact, it disgusted me. But what did interest me was a rich guy that wants to make you rich. And it doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what color you are, what gender you are. I don't care.
Right.
I've spent
money doesn't care about that.
No. And, I've started 32 companies in 17 industries. I've developed real estate, a couple hundred homes, industrial subdivisions where I tore down entire neighborhoods and rebuilt them. I became an underwriter in 2012 to be able to underwrite my own deals. Then in 2009, I set up Capital Velocity to help get capital into people's hands.
Okay.
So that, there's Capital Velocity, which is helping people in real estate. I only fund good debt, people that want to make money. So here's how it works. So if you want, let's say you're brand new, you want to do a fix and flip property. I'll fund up to 90% of the purchase and 100% of the actual rehab, up to 100% of the rehab. And here's how, like we just did this. I took my system. We got rid of inspections where people come out and have to take pictures and say what completion rate you are. Now the person that's doing it, you just take your phone out, take a picture of the carpet you put in, and whatever the allowance for carpet is, I wire it into your account in 24 hours.
Love it.
So
love it.
It's really set up so that, because time is money when it comes to fix and flip, the shorter period, the faster you can flip that property, the more money you're going to make.
Good point.
So, my thing is, obviously, as a bank, I make more money the longer you have my money.
Right.
But I like people to get addicted. Like they do a deal and they're like, you get a fire. Yeah, you get a police officer.
I never want to do just one flip. Yeah, it's awesome if you do one great flip, you make 50 grand, 100 grand. But there really is a business that you could just keep doing it year after year after year, especially if you have a great lender and a fast lender. I will say that has been one of the one of the things in my experience with fixing and flipping that I hated was waiting on the inspection for the next draw, and it almost seeming intentional that the bank is, oh, he can't come out this week. And so you can't really start the next thing because you don't want to. And you're just like, are you guys really, really trying to let me finish this in 8 weeks like I originally planned?
Yeah, that you actually spotted something that there are quite a few lenders. They're trying to make as much money as they can. And for me, if I don't know any other way that you can make 100, 200, 300, $500,000, $1 million in one transaction in three to 6 months, or in 2 months, Or even if you lock up a great deal in the contract, there are plenty of people who will buy that contract and say, hey, leave a little bit of money in the deal for me, and I'll finish the project. And you could flip that contract for $20,000. And rather than waiting to make 100, you make 20 in a matter of just locking up the deal. So that's part of the reason we're setting up that circle, is so that we have a deal room, so that whatever you're missing, whether it's credit, whether it's money, whatever it is, you'll be able to collaborate. And I would love to offer your audience through you and set up something so that you can help fund as many people in your audience as possible. My thing is, I have an unlimited line on Wall Street. So we got unlimited money. We do fix and flip. If you want to do a DSCR, most people don't know what a DSCR loan is. Tell them. and my thing is, it's the rich secret. First of all, when I do loans with people, I don't do a hard pull on their credit. I do a soft pull. All I want to do is verify who you are and get an idea what your credit score is. But we don't do a hard pull, and we don't report to your personal credit. These are they're all loans to LLCs. You can set one up in about 5 minutes. And then we'll fund the LLC, and we report the credit to the LLC, not to your personal credit. So you can get hundreds of these loans, as many as you want. It's infinite. So you can buy, and I don't care what your income is. It doesn't matter if you make 10 cents. Or you could lose money. I don't care. See, a DSCR loan goes based on the property and what the property makes. And if you at least make 110% income compared to the 100% expenses, that means you only have to make 10%, that much. And you can buy a piece of property using that. It's a debt service coverage ratio, which is a DSCR. And if let's say it costs $1,000 for PITI, which is principal and interest, taxes, and insurance, right? So you add it all up, and it's $1,000. If you bring in $1,100, you can buy that property. We'll finance it, right?
That's big. People do, and this is like a big hidden secret. It's funny. I was talking about DSCR loans. I have a few, and it's amazing because it does not report on your personal credit report. And I'm going to tell you something. And I told people this because I did not even realize, because I got these a few years ago. It's so funny. The interest rate is like 5 point something on these DSCR loans. It's incredible. Because I've seen some few now that are, 12% and 14%. And so I know that they are at least, going up in the rates, but it's a wonderful loan because you can get multiple loans, especially for the Airbnb businesses that people want to do with the short-term rentals, and have a bunch of them instead of doing rental arbitrage where you're not getting that appreciation, where you're not getting that equity. You could actually be growing your equity and your appreciation by owning the property and still cash flowing it using, short-term rentals, Airbnbs. And I just don't think people realize that this is something that's available to them. And you just really have to have decent credit. You don't need even perfect credit in many cases, but you need decent credit. Pay your bills is pretty much the big thing.
I've seen people that have the other thing is, we're friends with Justin Murch too. If they just jump on with him too, and he'll privately counsel them, and you can do a rapid rescore. There are things you can do. You can move your credit cards into a business credit card. Like I got 32 credit cards. They're all business credit cards. I lived on credit cards for 4 years, and my credit score is 850. I don't know where my phone is. So I can show you. Didn't I show you my credit score?
You did. You did. You showed us.
I was like, that's my flex. I'm flexing.
I love that flex. It's a strong flex.
Yeah, that's how you pick people up. Like I'm not single. I'm married, but
exactly.
It's like, let me see your credit score.
850, baby.
850. If you think I'm sexy now, I'm bringing sexy back with an 850. Yeah.
That is a very sexy credit score, I must admit.
All right. My mom did that when the last time she got married, but bless her heart. She's like, let me see your credit score. How much debt do you have? And she goes, before you can marry me, you got to pay off all your debt. He's just he's like, I got to pay off all my debt before I can.
I'm okay with people having lots of debt, because some of the richest people I know have tons of debt. You know, maybe it's not on their personal credit report, but they have, you know, you can't really have a skyscraper without having, you know, a freaking $20 million loan that goes with it. So I'm good with the right type of debt. So
yeah, this was bad debt. This is this is debt that costs you money every month.
Right.
The debt I sell is good debt.
Let's talk about that really quickly, because you said you also have the opportunity. So for people that are interested in buying businesses, you know, some people have businesses, maybe they're interested in selling them. You're interested in buying, you know, I think it was 99 businesses. Is that the number I heard?
Yeah, that's the current goal.
Okay.
It may go up. My thing is that I think that if I could change the lives of at least 99 people and their families and their family, then I have made a dent or a difference in 99 people's lives. I think, and the way I can contribute that is by contributing the success I've had and sort of pushing that forward. And what I look for is, you know, somebody who's been the right-hand person of, you know, like yesterday I was at the Great Greek. They'll probably hate me for saying this, but the manager's been there. The Great Greek. They'll probably hate me.
Yeah, the restaurant.
Yeah. So there's like a manager there. She's been there for 3 years. She's incredible. Yeah. And the Great Greek is highly profitable. It's a very profitable business. Well, would love to own a bunch of Great Greeks, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm talking to her. I'm like, you've been running this for 3 years. How about I buy a couple of them for you? And you run them, maybe 3, maybe 4, like, or just one. We could just one. And she's like, yeah, I don't want that responsibility. I'm like, she don't want to
be rich.
She's hiring everybody. She's running the business. Yeah. I said, I need to have you on my podcast. Yeah. I want to know why you would hire, manage somebody's business, do everything. Yeah, and I'm okay with it for like a year or 2, but you've been there for 3. It's time for you to step in the seat, to step up to be the captain. You know, you've been the mate. Now you could be the captain of that boat. And I'm saying I'll put up the capital, so that we can buy this business that you will own. I told her, I said, I'm never going to come there. I'll pay for the food when I go. Yeah. I just want 19% of the business. Yeah. I'm not going to lean on the business. You'll own 81%, and you do nothing different. You run a successful business now. And I said, I got one other question. Do you have a 680 credit score? Because I need to know you're responsible paying your bills personally. Right. Yeah. And she said, yeah, I got like a 750. I'm like, okay. So I don't understand. And the crazy thing is, we'd buy the business. Yeah. We'd run it probably for 5 years. Yeah. And she would be a millionaire, easily. A cash millionaire that we could then sell the business. So if she did nothing different than she's doing now, 3 years from now, we could pay off the business and she'd be a millionaire. Today, she doesn't have any money in the bank. Yeah. But in 3 years, doing the exact same thing, right, that she's doing now as an owner, and she'd be a millionaire. Yeah. And that's what, that's what's so troubling to me is like, finding good people that can run a business, which is part of, I've got to build also a CEO program, business owner program, because people don't know how to manage cash flow, a balance sheet, an income statement, how to market, how to set up marketing, how to license, trademark, how to, limit liability, how to hire, how to train, how to get people to sell. There's so many different departments in business, from, customer service to quality control to sales and marketing to treasury, which is all, that aspect of it, production. Like how are you producing your product or service? Right. Like
Yeah. So in other words, if you have somebody that is like this restaurant owner, restaurant worker, she's a manager, she knows how to do everything in the business, but she's afraid to take on all of it. Not only do you have the funding and you're willing to invest in someone like that, but you would also have almost like a course or a coaching to help them get those other skills that they feel like they might be missing.
Yeah, because I'm in talking to a lot of people and in doing Epic 99, I realized that people have gaps.
Yeah.
And there are gaps. I mean, I started my first company at 12 and I was a multimillionaire by 17 with 200 employees. So I had a trial by fire, like bullets were just flying by me. So, you know, to me, I, out of necessity, had to learn cash flow. I had to learn my balance sheet, income statement, what a quick ratio is, how to evaluate a company, how to buy wholesale, how to get the best deals wholesale, how to set up distribution, right? Most people don't even know that the chips that are in a store, the store never even buys them. Somebody comes in there, they're rack jobbers, and it's a company that goes in there and they place the chips in there. And then they bill the convenience store for whatever's sold.
Yeah.
You know, so
people don't even realize that. Like, it's almost like on consignment. They don't even have to come up with all of the inventory inside of a store. I know I've told people that, like, because you could just imagine if Walmart had to come up with every single dollar to fill up every single aisle. No, that's truly what exists, what business credit is. If you can actually start to wrap your mind around, that's how all businesses are working. And you, even as a small business, have the opportunity to start taking advantage of these systems that already exist, to set up your business and get all the inventory that you need, where you're not having to try to save your way into entrepreneur's, which is something I'll hear people say. They're just like, what? Yeah, like, I'm trying to save money so I can start a business. It's like, you're missing the whole concept.
You will never save your way to success. I mean, that was one of the things that, you know, Ramsey and like Graham Stephan or like 70-cent coffee. I'm like, you know, the idea is to make more income. Right. Like you have to reduce your expenses, because otherwise the creep will step up on you. And I know people that, like, I do finance, right? So I funded, God, probably well over 100,000 loans at this point, 77,000 of them through my own hands. And I watch people make as much as $2 million a year that are broke. Yeah. And they spend everything, every dime. And when you ask them, say, like, do you think you could save 10,000 or 20,000? They're like, oh yeah, it's so hard. Yeah. I'm like, you make $2 million a year. Right. You can't save for a down payment.
I've seen that too. They'll make $200,000 a month. They spend $200,000 or spend $250 a month. You're like,
and they got no drug habit. Right. They got like, they just life, it's called the life creep. You know, it just creeps. That's why I like fix and flip, because I see it change people's lives where they have nothing. And then all of a sudden they have $1 million in the bank, and they're just sitting back looking at their screen on the computer going, I got and then they get scared and don't want to do another deal. I'm like, was $1 million where you wanted to stop?
Start hoarding. And then
I want to lend you more money.
That number just goes down each day as they live their life, and you're like, okay, let's get back in there.
Yeah. So there is a point where, like, I think people get shocked when they see big chunks of change, and they're like, then they become really risk adverse. And that's troubling. And, you know, it's understandable, because you become a target. The wealthier you get, it happens.
Very true.
So I don't think you're completely safe till you have like about 200, 300 million in the bank.
And see, then, you know, it's so funny, because we all have different money philosophies, because I just don't even know why someone would keep that much cash. That's just, you know, like I said, we all have our money philosophies, because I'm just like, at that point, why would you want that much cash, like $100 million in cash? I've had millions of dollars in cash, and it just felt silly to me, because I felt like I could put this into a piece of real estate. And that's usually what I end up doing. It just didn't feel useful to me. You know what I mean? It's like I wanted the goal and I've had that goal. Like I want, $1 million. I need 2 million. I need 3. And then you have it and you're just like, is this the best use of this cash?
I agree with you 100%. None of my cash actually sits around. All my cash is on a treadmill.
Yeah.
Some of my cash is on like 6 miles an hour. Some of that cash is at 13 miles an hour. Running. So I think it's horrible to keep. I mean, I don't care what level you are. I think financial habits should be the same when you're broke as when you're a multimillionaire, decamillionaire, or a billionaire. You literally, the habits you create when you're broke, they just get magnified when you get richer. So for me, I've always kept money working. I'll buy treasuries. I'll buy, and if you get 0% interest credit card and you could buy a treasury at 5%, and you can make 5% on nothing, on air. I'm like, what? I'm not sure what you're afraid of. And then the other thing, your cash, you could have it in treasuries. I own a stock I love called 𝗪𝗍𝘀𝗶𝘁, and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not trying to tell you to buy 𝗪𝗍𝘀𝗶𝘁, but it's Oklahoma Energy. It's just gas. Like, when are people not going to use gas in like Oklahoma?
In Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma, right? So so to me, it's like, and that dividend was paying as much as 9%. 9%. So, and I've literally, I've doubled my money with 𝗪𝗍𝘀𝗶𝘁. And it's been a solid investment. I bought Wells Fargo when everybody hated Wells Fargo. I'm like, because Wells Fargo's not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. Too big to fail. We know that.
So same with Chase. I mean, they manipulate money. They're all broke and should go bankrupt.
But they never will.
They never will.
And now we know that for sure. That's another.
They're all bankrupt.
We know this.
We know this.
Yeah. I'm into, like, it's funny. Same thing. I have Bank of America stock, Wells Fargo stock. I'm like, I just know, I now know. They showed me it doesn't matter. The government will bail them out. They'll be fine. So I'm like,
like when you figure evil will win, and so invest in Goldman Sachs. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We are not tax advisors. We are not attorneys.
I do own Goldman Sachs. I do own Wells Fargo. I do some things it ain't right, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Like, I'm not fighting reality.
Exactly. I didn't create the rules of the game. I just play the game as it's meant to be played. I tell people that all the time. People, capitalism, and I'm like, this is the rules. I just learned the rules, and I just play by the rules. The end.
Well,
no judgment of the game.
The crazy thing is when you get wealthier, you massively cooperate with the rules. Then all of a sudden, you start making the rules work for you. I'll give you a deal that I'm involved in.
Okay.
I'm in like some stuff I can't talk about, but I will talk about what I can talk about. So we're talking about 75 homes that I can build. I get all the money up front. The government's giving me the money for the deals. Like, they'll fund the whole deal. And all I have to do is make sure that I am 5% below the average income of what people make in this particular municipality, in this particular city. So they'll basically give me the money to build it as long as I rent it at a rate that people can afford. I
love that.
And yet, they're like, they're begging me to build it. I'm like, literally, they're like, here, we'll give you the money. We'll please, and will you spend your time building these homes for people? And, and you're looking at that, and you're like, and a decade at that, you don't know what people's income is going to be or if it'll cash flow long-term, but your basis in the project is zero. And there's a lot of grants that'll pay up to 70% to build. grants because
Yeah.
we don't have enough housing in a lot of areas.
True.
And there's a big move that, like the property I told you earlier when we were talking about how I had 9 units and then flipped that property and they got like 24. They 4x their money on the project, and you know I doubled my money, which you know I'm not complaining, you know, but 4x is pretty good too, you know. So there's a lot, like we live in opportunities. My point with that, though, to tell people is that the more cooperative you are in learning what the government's problems are and what the real social problems are, and if you align yourself, there is so much money. Jeff Bezos gets money. Elon Musk got money. His company wasn't profitable for 8 years, 7, 8 years. Tesla was all getting subsidies from all the other car makers that had to pay him a carbon credit that was on, if you looked at their income statement, there was a section, and if you took carbon credit out of there, the company literally would not exist without the government interfering in the car business. They got a loan that nobody could have gotten during the financial crash.
Correct.
So the more, and then people, you know, say they don't want to pay taxes. I'm like, you should pay as much taxes as you can because they'll give you the keys to the vault. Right. Whenever we're looking at giving out loans, we're like, okay, how much, if it's a government funded, the best money on the planet, on planet Earth, the best money on the planet is the US loans. That, like, people would kill for the loans that we can just apply for with a US citizenship. But like, it's amazing. There's
it's
like,
incredible.
This is the best place on the planet. Trust me, I would be living right now in Belize with a private resort that I built, sipping Mai Tais, if it weren't for trying to help people and being in lending. There's no other, like, I can't do what I'm doing anywhere else in the world. I have unlimited funding to do fix and flip and DSCRs and business funding. And I can't do that anywhere else in the world. Just in America, this country.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So people want to get involved. They can check out 𝗩𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗏. Was that what you said? And there's a link below in the description box, but we're just one more time, just to kind of clarify. There's so many amazing things. So just to bring it down to, okay, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z, and here's what you need.
Yeah, for 𝗩𝗏𝗍𝗏, you got to be able to run the company. If not, you're going to have to get training to be able to run a company, go work, you know, next to the president of a company to get the experience. You need a 680 credit score. That's kind of it. We buy successful businesses. So if you have a business you want to sell and you're ready to retire, please definitely reach out. We want to buy your company. We're looking for good, honest companies that have paid their taxes and have been good citizens in the United States. I'm not looking for people who are committing fraud and hiding money and all that kind of. If you bring a business that you've been hiding money for and that this is probably 2/3 of the businesses that come to me from, you know, I'm like, I have no interest in buying a company that has been unethical and not taking care of their obligations. I want good companies and good people that want to make an honest living.
You like all different types of companies. I like that because there's just some businesses Noelle Randall is just so adverse to, and you said one of them, which was a restaurant. But you like restaurants, and I'm just being honest. Like when you a great gig, no restaurant. And that's just me. You know, we have our own, like we said, we have our own cash philosophies. We have our own business philosophies now. So, but you will buy restaurants, you'll buy trucking companies, you will buy, like, is there any types of businesses though that you are like, no cannabis, no this, no that? Like, come and talk to me.
I think, you know, and I'm not totally adverse to it, but some of the drop shipping companies that are built can drop in a heartbeat. They can go from a multi-million-dollar company to about $5,000 in value. Those are a little bit difficult. But yeah, successful, solid business is what we're into. And
they don't have to be brick and mortar, or do you prefer brick and mortar businesses?
It doesn't matter. As long as, I mean,
Okay.
I don't do gambling facilities. I don't do strip clubs. I'm not heavy in devices, so
Yeah.
wouldn't be a liquor store.
Right.
So that, like, I want to help people. I don't want to, push something that like,
Yeah,
I'm not
it's each his own. Again, yeah, people have asked me that too.
No, hey, there's plenty of
that business. It's funny, was brought to me about strip clubs, and and you're in Vegas, so I'm sure you probably get that. And I'm like, no, it's not my clientele. Noelle Randall, I just that's not something I'm interested in profiting in, if I have to be honest. So I get it.
Yeah, I have no interest. I'm not putting my money there.
Yeah.
I just, that's part of the reason I can live in Vegas. Most people, Vegas destroys them.
Right.
I don't have a gambling habit other than gambling on people. Right.
Good point. Me too. I would say the same thing. I think that's where I gamble too, is on people.
I'm in time when people talk about their dreams. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, my heart is just, you own me. You start like telling me what you want, your hopes, your passion. You're like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm done. Toast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a sucker for all that stuff. So I want to see people succeed. When people flip property and they see $100,000 check for the first time in their life, there's nothing that gives me more joy than seeing somebody just lit up because they can now. And then, of course, when they go buy, the exotic car, I'm like, oh, if they could have just put that into 4 more properties, like.
You gotta live once. As an exotic car owner now, I can say sometimes it's a bucket list. It's just like, you know what? I said I wanted to do this. I'm doing it. And it's funny because somebody called me, the Lamborghini dealership actually called me about my Lamborghini. They want to buy it. And I'm like, pretty sure I'm gonna sell it at some point, but it was just, so again, and you're right. It is I definitely could have bought 4 condos. That's the literal number. I thought, like, I 4 condos very easily.
Well, and the thing is, and if you would have leveraged it, probably 40 condos.
Exactly.
So
I know. I get it. I know.
Tesla called me a couple months ago and said, you want a Cybertruck? I wired them the money. I got the foundation edition. So
I have a ex, and they were talking to me about the why, because they have like 2% interest. Because they asked me about the Cybertruck, and I'm like, that looks like a kid drew it.
You feel like a kid driving it. It's pretty cool. I have a Y too, but my favorite car is a Le Mans prototype Radical. I'm a race car driver, so I've driven Lamborghinis on the track and I've driven Ferraris and everything, but once you get in a real race car,
right,
where you have 1,100 pounds and you've got 3,000 pounds of downforce, and you can pull 3 Gs around a corner and watch somebody pee their pants as you're going around it. It's
now that's a fantasy, a race car, and owning a race car team. That seems cool. That's cool.
It's a lot of fun, and you meet. I mean, it's great. It's a great place to network. I mean, generally the people that are there, the net worths are probably the brokest guys, maybe 100 million. 50 million.
Yeah, because quite frankly, race cars are not always a profitable hobby. If you know, I've known people that own race teams, and they're like, oh no, it just bleeds money. I'm like, the car always needs new everything, and it's not. So it's hard. Okay.
It's hard to spend less than $1 million, with everything. So
really,
I'm in gentleman racing. So like, if I crash into somebody else's car, like there was a heart surgeon out in New York who came up on me, and I cut around the turn. I think we were doing 150 and slowed down to 60 to make a hairpin turn. And then he like tried to come in, like he dove in between me and the turn that I was making, and I had nowhere to go but out. And during that course, we hit each other. And then we have cameras all over the cars, right? So we got cameras on the back, we got cameras on the sides, we got cameras everywhere, right? So right after the crash, all the referees came out there and they're grabbing all our SD cards from all the cameras, right? So then we have to go to review. And the heart surgeon's like, yeah, he's buying me a new car, right? Because he hit me. I'm like, you squeezed me out. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? Yeah. So we get in there, they go through the footage, and so I was cleared. It wasn't my thing, but if it was ruled my fault, I have to buy him a race car.
That's the remedy for that.
Yeah, and you if you crash somebody and don't fix their car, or buy them a new car, you're not going to be welcome there again. Like, it's that kind of, it's like, that's gentleman racing is, you know, if you crash, you buy the other person, basically.
Okay, so I'm going to stick to golf because, you know, I don't have to buy anybody. I can buy you some clubs if I.
Yeah. Oh my God.
What? I call State Farm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the other thing is like, there's no insurance. You can't buy insurance. Yeah. They'll say, can I get some insurance on my Radical race car? They go, yeah, no. In fact, do you have a life insurance policy? We're going to call MetLife, and maybe they need to cancel that.
Cancel you.
Know, or
you're going to get dropped.
Yeah, it's like, or like your medical. I've always wondered, because I mean, I fell off a bike and dislocated these two fingers that are all swollen. And I just got the bill. It was $18,000.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I haven't even gotten the ambulance bill from the ambulance I took. I'm like, wow, you know?
It's funny because it's when I was getting life insurance, what I thought you were going to say is they ask you about stuff like that. And I want to say they asked me about race car driving. I was just doing the whole thing with insurance. They asked me, did I skydive? They asked me, they were asking like risky hobbies. And I was listening, and I'm looking at this lady like, are you out of your mind? No, you know, I'm incredulous. No, why would I ever be doing? And then you're like, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, people do that.
Yeah. I'm a registered free fall skydiver. So that's, yeah, I'm like,
are you insane? Why would I be doing that?
You know what people say too? Why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? And you go, obviously you've never been skydiving.
Right. And it's funny because I kind of do want to skydive just because it was a few years ago, I heard a story with Will Smith, and he was just talking about how you worry about it and you worry about it. And then you jump out when you realize that it just changes your perspective on life. It was more like the ayahuasca thing that you hear people talking about, where they have these breakthroughs or whatever. So then you kind of are interested in just that thing, not really actually jumping out of the plane or actually ayahuasca. I'm just more interested in the result that you say you got. So that was the only thing that kind of made me.
I've done ayahuasca too.
Talk to me. What's that? You said ayahuasca. Did I pronounce it wrong, or are you saying something different?
No, it's like AW. Ayahuasca. I mean, why do I say ayahuasca? It's ayahuasca.
Are we saying the same thing, or are you saying something different? Because I'm saying ayahuasca. Is that? Yes. Am I saying it wrong? Okay.
No, you're saying it right.
It's curious for pronouncing something wrong. I went around for years saying analogous, and it was like analogous. So I'm cool if you said no, Noelle. That's not how you say that.
Obviously, I've taken too much of it. You know, when you know ayahuasca, like I know ayahuasca, you know, it ain't ayahuasca anymore. It's ayahuasca.
Okay. All right. Talk to me. What was that? We can even stop the recording if you want to, because now
I'm like, so right after my first experience at ayahuasca, I'm like, I got the camera out and I recorded that moment. I'd recommend.
Really?
If you ever do it, and I'm not recommending it because I don't know what the liability would be for that. I'm always
right. I asked you, so don't worry about that. And I don't think anyone's ever died anyway. It's a psychedelic, so it's not I mean, unless I jump off a bridge, I guess.
It's
they put you in the middle of the field or something is kind of how I understood it, because even the one I was looking at, you have to sleep outside. That's kind of some of the stuff that has kind of made me be like, oh God, why can't I just do this and go to the home or go to my house afterwards. But anyway, keep going.
So it was me and my wife. We actually, so I had a guide, a shaman, and I hired a nurse.
Okay.
So, you know, I like, and then went up in the mountains of Peru and did it there, and had was like an Airbnb type property that was there up in the hills. Yeah. And so I set up the full experience because I think you really want to be you want to really feel safe.
Yeah.
Because you are about to lose control of your mind. People don't realize how much control you have. Same experience skydiving. You know, when you first jump out of a plane, you realize how comforting gravity is. You realize how, you know, like you've taken for granted the ability of this like physics, right? Yeah. Because for the first 200, 300 feet, you have no control over anything. You haven't hit velocity yet. You have no control. Now, once you are fast enough skydiving, you can start to control where you go, whether, you know, it's forward, backwards, right, left. You can start to spin. You can start to control it. Well, with ayahuasca, you control nothing, right? So, and in fact, the biggest problem I had in the beginning was, you know, I'm such a brainy, like I study every day. I think I'm like constantly studying and trying to figure stuff out. Right. Yeah. So here I am in ayahuasca trying to stay my mind is trying to stay in control. And the more I tried to stay in control, the more, like, I almost want to say wicked and like hellish, like upsetting the actual experience was. And then I remember, you know, just going through some of the others. I've like done every self-development thing you can think of.
Walking on hot stones and all that. Yeah, me too.
All the stuff, all the stuff. Like, you know, I run to personal development. I think it's a direct reflection of your success is how evolved you are. Good success. I'm not talking about bad success, but good success to me, it comes from a very healthy human being, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So at any rate, I'm like in this trip, and then I remember the word allow. And I said, just allow this, allow this. And then I just went totally, I mean, it was the most beautiful experience when I allowed it to happen. When I thought it was going to beat the living, it was not going to be good. And then when I allowed the experience to happen, that it's like everything opened up. I started, like, the secrets of the universe were really being revealed. Like
now playing The Secrets of the Universe by Nanan.
Okay, Siri.
All right. Wow. I mean, we got a song for that.
I know. I did not know that song existed, but okay.
I didn't know it either. But, you know, people are listening. I got all the favorites over here listening. So it revealed, I realized just how fake the world is and how we're all pretending. Yeah. And we put on these masks. So a lot of the masks were starting to come off. And, you know, the vulnerability of human beings, nature, it's like you start seeing, like, I'm like, wow, deers are really there, engaged, like ready to love on you. And the trees there just giving you air and like oxygen, all of a sudden, like, all like everything. I mean, now I'm like picking up bugs and taking them outside. I'm like freeing bees that get stuck in my pool. I'm like, I feel such a connection to the planet and to the animals, and to, like, I still kill brown recluse spiders because that's pretty ugly. When people get bit by those, you could lose a hand. But most, you know, like most creatures, I have a ton of respect for, and plants. And now I look around my house, which is, you know, like I have tons of plants. Like I probably spend almost $2,000 a month just watering them. So just, especially in Vegas. So just, you know, it's keeping them like alive
So
and
what made
seeing.
you go do it? Okay, it's again, okay, because it sounds like I'm telling you, I have been on the fence about this but I haven't been able to pull the trigger. But I've been to Tony Robbins, and I've done Landmark, and I've done
You did Landmark?
all of them. Oh, of
Did,
course. Don't I
did,
sound like everybody says when I say it? Everybody's like, "Oh, you sound like a Landmark graduate."
did
I'm
you
like, I love Landmark.
did you do masters?
I did not do masters because I
Oh,
did it and then COVID happened. So I actually
oh,
still want to and plan on continuing
oh,
my education.
if you go to masters, I will be at your graduation. It's just a weekend.
Okay.
I
Okay.
will. I've done masters.
I didn't know we had a graduation. The last one I did, we just kind of read the letter that we wrote to the people, and I never. So don't even tell me what happens. I mean, you're giving it away. I didn't know there was a graduation.
Yeah. So masters, yeah, like I've done masters like maybe 2 or 3 times.
Really?
Yeah, it's like really the core technology of how they build all the courses, how they built everything. It's what they train the trainers with. To be able to deliver the information. It's like they uncover.
Because for a while they weren't having the in-person classes, and it was all just online for like 2 years. Everything they were sending me, because remember COVID happened, and then you had to just do them online, and then they were just like online. So I started to see in my email where it's like, oh, okay, we have this, and it's in person, and it wasn't any in my city because I'm in Orlando now. When I did it before, I was in Dallas. Yeah, I was in Dallas.
Some of them you're able to re-audit the courses anytime you want. Mm-hmm. So if there is an in-person, I mean, Landmark was designed to be a human experience, right? Where you connect on a whole new level with human beings. And with the idea of, it's unbelievable. It changed my life. I went through it when I was 21 years old in 1991. Wow. When it was super hardcore, like super hardcore.
I feel awful.
Yeah. So, yeah. But you should be able to go. Yeah, I think you could go back and you can do the in-person, audit it, and really go through all the stuff because there's so many breakthroughs that you have interpersonally to break through some of those emotions, some of those mental blocks, some of those physical blocks that you might have that could hold you back from whatever you want. And
which is probably what's been holding me back from the ayahuasca and the losing of control, because everybody that I've talked to, like you, has had an amazing experience. I have one of my really good friends in Salt Lake City, and she's, can kind of work as a shaman, and she's offered to come to her house and do it, and a few things like that. And just every time I'm always just like, I don't know what's under there. I mean, whatever.
It is. I mean,
that's your back, and I'm afraid. Go ahead.
To the degree that your mind owns you and you don't own your mind, that could be a terrifying experience, right? So to me, I know that I am not my mind. I control my mind. My mind is an organ, muscle, whatever. But I own it. I control it. I tell it what to learn, what it's going to do, and I own my mind. Just like I own my emotions and my physical sensations. So, to me, it is really an out of mind experience. And your mind is going to come up with every reason, excuse, justification, and story it can come up with not to go, to go be challenged.
Right.
All your beliefs, all your ideas, all of them will dissolve in front of your eyes.
That's powerful. I am signing up. There's a place right here in Orlando that does them like every single weekend. It's like the Church of Ayahuasca, I think it's called, in Orlando. And I've even seen him on a documentary, and I think that's what my mind has done. I'm saying stuff and saying like, why did you do that? Like I'm studying it. And watching documentaries on it and coming up with, oh, well, that person was vomiting, so you don't want to do that, do you? And just okay, thank you.
It's like that need to be right, like
to stay in control. It's definitely some bad programming. I know I still have some programming that I am needing to break past. I know And the old me is fighting to to stay alive and to stay in there. And the new me is why I asked you that question, probably.
Yeah. And, you know, there's good control, right?
Yeah.
There's good control. I wouldn't want to drive a car without a steering wheel,
Right.
you know?
Well, you drive a race car, so I.
Yeah. The bad thing is if the steering wheel came off, like, you know, in my hands, because it does come off with a button. So that,
I know, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And I'm walking around with it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of buttons and paddles and a thing that plugs into it, and yeah, and then of course, you know, within your reach, you can pull a fire extinguisher in case the car catches on fire. You wear a fire suit and helmet, neck guard, neck brace. You're like bolted into the car, you know. So 5-point harness. And then the seats are custom designed to fit your body, because when you're pulling 3 Gs, it can really hurt your ribs, your hips, and you know, because you're pushing weight, you know, like it's 3 times your body weight into the side of the car. So it can be pretty, but I mean, it's like a roller coaster, but you're in control of it. Yeah,
I like roller coasters, so I guess maybe I would like race car driving, and maybe if I can release some of these preconceived notions, I would be able to jump out of a plane and drive a race car.
There's that. It's funny. There's that threshold. To me, it's almost like the faith, right? Like you just fall into, you know, faith. Like I've been, you know, baptized in the River Jordan. I'm like totally Christian. I don't talk about it with anybody, just because I don't want to be that guy. I'm always worried about people coming up, you know, saying they're a Christian out of the gate. Like, why do you have to say that?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You know, so,
yeah.
But to me, it's when you're in a race car, there's the point of control. And then there's a point of just where you have faith in what the car is going to do. You have faith in aerodynamics. There's a point where it doesn't make sense anymore. Like when you're doing 130 around a corner, that if you did that same corner at 60 miles an hour, you would fly off the track. So what happens is the downforce pushes the car down like a pancake, and you have slicks, these slick tires. They get gummy like bubble gum, and you're like on rails. So the tires stick to the ground, and then the downforce pushes the car down, and you're able to just do things in a car that you think are physically impossible. They just don't make sense in your mind.
Okay. You've taught me a lot here today, I must say. You've taught me a lot here today. So I love it. All right. We've been over here almost an hour. Any closing? Any closing? Because we're not going to recommend, obviously, to the audience the ayahuasca. You don't have to go to the church. You don't have to go to be a Christian. You don't have to do any of these last things that we said. But this last thing we would want you to do. Go ahead, Andrew.
You know, my big thing is invest in yourself. Go out and do things that make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think I always try and do things that terrify me, that make sense. I think a fix and flip will terrify most people, but I think it's one of the most rewarding to see something that you make beautiful. You can buy a whole kitchen for like $12,000 from IKEA. Throw an IKEA kitchen in it, like, and you feel like a kitchen god, right? You know, and you do a couple of things to make something beautiful, repaint it, you know, cut some landscaping and make $100,000. I don't know. It's just like, you know, it just make things better and make money doing it. Like, and then if you want to keep that fix and flip it into a DSCR loan, rent it out to somebody, and you'll build equity that'll build long-term wealth. So, you know, I would, you know, definitely do that. Buy a business.
Highly recommend.
Yeah. So I do everything that I literally say. So, you know, so I'm not telling you to set up an e-commerce business. I'll show you how to do it, but I'm like, we don't buy those businesses. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Well, all right. It's been amazing talking to you, Andrew. I will talk to you next time. Oops. Let me do this. Ooh.